Welcome to another episode of True. My name is Nick.
And I'm Leslie. So our first segment today, Nick, is...
Our first segment today is Fix It and Forget It. We're going to talk about upgrades. What upgrades should you do to your home? What gives you the biggest bang for your buck?
Today's segment is about kitchens specifically.
Kitchen specific.
Yeah, and I had a person here in Western Massachusetts asked me on Twitter a couple of weeks ago whether she should do the big fix, which was going to be thousands and thousands of dollars, basically a complete redo, or should she just do smaller fixes she's thinking of selling in the next 3 years. And, you know, she was talking about spending upwards of $10,000, which is easy to do in a kitchen. That goes quick. And I sort of suggested that there's a lot of things to consider. The first being, what's the market value of your home? What's the neighborhood supporting? Are you going to actually get any of that back in the resale, or is it going to be a donation to the betterment of your life? Right,
and absolutely. And for me, actually, $10,000 seems like a low-end upgrade for a kitchen. You could spend $10,000 just on a countertop in reality. As an appraiser, the rule of thumb really is, first of all, look at your neighborhood. Don't over-improve based on your neighborhood. If you live in a neighborhood where, you know, the houses all tend to be, you know, similar to each other, like a lot of people live in, I would ask your real estate professional to see what do other people have in these houses. Maybe hit an open house. The other thing to consider would be, how soon are you looking to sell? A lot of these investments don't have a return on investment really quickly. However, will sell your house quicker. However, what we find is in the market that a typical buyer may not pay what you paid for the kitchen upgrade once it goes on the market.
Yeah, and I think in my experience, the things that are smart to do if you are going to do an upgrade, maybe you don't want to do the whole kitchen over, the countertops. If you can afford
absolutely.
granite, that seems to be the most popular option right now. But there's a lot of other really attractive options that simulate that stone feel that you can do for less. I think cabinets, people spend a lot of money on cabinets when they might not need to. If they're good, solid cabinets and maybe the color is just a little out of vogue, a nice coat of paint and some new hardware goes a long way. I've seen people take wood cabinets that looked from the 50s and really spruce them up with minimal expense. You can also, you know, I have oak cabinets. I just sanded them lightly and put a coat of polyurethane and some new hardware and they looked brand new. And they're 25 years old. So there's a lot of fast fixes out there. Sprucing up is important, but maybe you don't need to spend a ton of money to make it look, really rich.
Yeah, I mean, there's companies out there that actually resurface old cabinets as well, which, you know, for a little bit more money, certainly not as much as new cabinets would be, however, more so than just, you know, painting, which is a good do-it-yourself project. You can make them look really fantastic. I think what it comes down to is, you know, look at your neighborhood. For example, you know, as you mentioned, granite, it gives you the most bang for your buck. People love granite countertops. A lot of people can't even tell some of the other stones from granite unless you're really a professional. But if nobody else in your neighborhood has granite, you don't need to get granite. And that's what it comes down to. If you live in a high-end neighborhood where all the homes, you know, have pools, nice, you know, kitchens are all higher-end materials, all higher-end finishes, then granite would be the way to go.
And then also you can look into some simple solutions for flooring too. There's a lot of great floors out there that are inexpensive, easy to install, and will give you a quick, modern finish. So consult your real estate professionals, but definitely fixing up the kitchen is one of your best bets for getting some money back out of a home improvement project. Our next segment today is talking about the tech-savvy realtor. And this is probably going to be my favorite section because I like to pride myself on being sort of tech-savvy. I like to use all the new technologies to help market and sell my listings. And one of my favorite things to use is a QR code. Now, some of you might not know what a QR code is. It's short for quick response code. And it is a little square with black boxes in it. And basically what it does is it allows the consumer with an app on their smartphone to take a picture of the code, and whatever content you've linked to that code will open on the internet. So it's a really cool way to turn a print material into live media.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen them in practice at all?
Absolutely, and I've seen them in practice everywhere now. And some people without smartphones may not even know what that little black box or of dots really is. It seems to me it's just revolutionized barcodes.
Yes.
That anybody can go on the website with certain programs like Google, I believe, is free.
Yep.
You can just make your own QR code, link it to any website you want or any web page you want, and then get it printed and put it on any sort of piece of marketing material you have.
If you're a home seller, you might want to talk to your realtor about if they're using QR codes, and if they are, what do they think the best practices are. In my opinion, the way I like to use them is I have one on my sign, my for sale sign in the front yard, and if you scan that one, it will open a mobile friendly browser with interior photos and video and all the information. So the people, you're standing on the curb and you say, oh, I really like this house, I wonder what it looks like inside. You scan that code and you can quickly find that answer out and make an appointment right there. You can just dial and make the appointment for the showing. Also put it on postcards and different listing flyers, the flyer sheets and all of those kind of things, so that if somebody comes to an open house and they take the flyer, the code's on there, and maybe they want to look at the information in the car on the way to the next one, and they can do that. So I think if you're a home seller and you're talking with realtors right now, it pays to have a discussion about if they're using QR codes in their marketing and how they might be able to use it to help market and better sell your home.
Right, and in the past, we used to have these boxes basically attached to the sign that had listing sheets in there. And QR codes, I think, are hopefully on their way to getting rid of that, because it's wasteful printing.
Well, it's not green.
It's not green.
All that paper, and then if you change any of the price or conditions of the listing, you got to print more. And then if they run out, somebody's got to run over and fill the box. So the QR code's going to be there, and if the material online changes, the code will still work.
Right, and they're only as good as the pictures or the printer you printed them on. If you're looking at photos, here you have an ability to look at them digitally. I guess the one downfall would be that not everybody has smartphones or understands the technology.
Not yet, but I think it's growing, because you're starting to see them use it in a lot of mainstream marketing. I see it everywhere now.
Certainly the younger generation that has the smartphones is up to date on that.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can catch up to everybody else.
So if you haven't tried a QR code out yet, do so. Try that today.
If you have a smartphone, download an app that reads QR codes. It's the most barcode reading apps.
Yeah. So we're moving on to our current events.
Our current events in Springfield. All of you guys have heard of Extreme Makeover. It's a show on ABC. And our show is based in Western Massachusetts, very close to Springfield, Massachusetts. And we have had the pleasure of having a family in our community selected for the next in the next season of Extreme Makeover. The announcement was made actually, I believe on Sunday, of who the family is, and the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks, is going to be pretty chaotic in that neighborhood.
Yeah, well, so I understand that they picked the family based on they had a tragic loss in the family due to bullying, and the mother is a big advocate against bullying. Obviously, I don't think anyone would advocate for it.
I'm a huge fan.
But so she's been very brave and very vocal in trying to help other families to avoid what they had suffered through, and in the process, has had to stay in the home where her son
hung himself.
Yeah, it's tragic, and so it's wonderful that they're going to get this fresh start.
Absolutely.
I think it's amazing. There was another Extreme Makeover Home Edition done just across the Connecticut border in Suffield, Connecticut a couple of years ago. And I was lucky enough to be invited to one of the press events. and see the work going on and experience what was happening in the neighborhood. It was really amazing. First of all, the people that live in that neighborhood are also giving a gift because you can't even drive easily to your own home. They're busing people in, they bus
Right.
people in and out with a shuttle. And of course, the road and the adjacent properties get mucked up from all the construction because they're doing this fast and furious. They're giving the local contractor that's building this, I watched a video with him in it, and he said they're supposed to do this in a week. Typically takes about 6 months to build a house.
Right.
And he said they've got about a week to get this house up. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And the contractor selected was Nick Riley Construction. He has enlisted several other local contractors to help him. They are looking for volunteers. They are looking for donations.
Yes.
If you would like to volunteer or donate, all you have to do is go to extrememakeover.com/mass.
Yes. And they're looking for help 24 hours. So,
Correct.
and they're looking for skilled labor as well as non-skilled labor for cleanup and other errand kind of duties. And then, like Nick said, they also could use some financial contributions, anything you can do to help. I think that the most amazing thing is that they not only go in there and tear down and build a house, but then they go back through the neighborhood, and by the time Extreme Makeover leaves, it's like the magic wand went poof, and
Absolutely.
it's incredible. And I think it's awesome that there's so many people that are teaming up to make something so wonderful happen for this family. Very
Absolutely.
deserving and very exciting.
So please do donate. In-kind donations are tax deductible, and I know they are looking for some. Any money that is not used up for the project actually gets given to the family to use for their expenses.
It's a wonderful thing. So our final segment for today is about distressed and stressed. And this segment, when we touch on it, will be about foreclosures and short sales. And it's an unfortunate byproduct of the economy that we've been surviving through, that there are quite a few foreclosure and short sale properties on the market. Today, I wanted to talk specifically about the short sale because I think it's a term that everybody has heard, but not everybody understands what it
Correct.
means. And so basically in a short sale, the only thing that's short is money, because they can take a little more time. The benefit to the seller, if you're a homeowner who's in danger of foreclosure, the reason why you might want to explore a short sale instead of a foreclosure is that it's less of an impact on your credit.
Absolutely.
So you'll be able to recover faster and get back into, any kind of a loan much quicker with a short sale versus a foreclosure. You don't walk away usually with any money, although there are some programs that do allow the sellers to take some cash from the proceeds, but typically you look at the short sale as a wash. If you're the seller, you're walking away without having the foreclosure and all of that credit impact.
Right, and the benefit for the lender is not to have to go through the foreclosure process and have to evict the current owner. So it's actually a win-win situation. You are right though about the time. Sometimes it takes longer.
It depends, and every short sale is different, so
Absolutely.
it's not always longer. Now, the benefit to the buyer is that typically the short sales do end up going under fair market value.
Absolutely.
Because it is a distressed sale position, and because if you're gonna, as a buyer, there are certain things you need to understand about a short sale, and you definitely want to consult your realtor before you make an offer on a short sale so that you really understand what those different criteria are. But the benefit is that you're probably going to get more house for your money if you're willing to hang on while the bank does their process. And that's what slows it down, is that the lender has got a ton of paperwork and all kinds of not committees, but people behind the scenes that are doing
Right.
Analytics on the situation before they approve it, and it can take a while.
Yeah, anytime there's more than one person that has to make a decision, it adds to the actual time that it takes for you from signing that initial contract to closing. But the benefit is that you can definitely get a lot more house for the money. If you're not in a position where you have a certain timetable where you must be in a house, the closing date you could keep open. I would certainly pursue a short sale. in that position.
Yeah, and I think now, and so to be real specific, short sale basically is if the seller owes more than the house is currently worth. So let's say you have a mortgage of $250,000, but the house is really only comping out at $220,000. There's a $30,000 difference there, and that's the shortfall. And the lender basically absorbs that as well as the closing expenses, and it's cheaper for them often to do that than to go through the foreclosure process. If you are encountering a position where you think you need to sell your house with a short sale, I think the best advice that we can give you would be to, number one, find an agent in your area that's comfortable and knowledgeable about short sales. Not every realtor is willing to work on a short sale. Some, there's certain realtors that specialize in different things, so not every agent's going to be experienced in that. And also, you do want an attorney, especially if to help you navigate the legal applications that you have to. So, and there are attorneys that are specialists in short sales as well. So your real estate professional can point you in the right direction. But absolutely, there's a ton of help out there and programs in place, and the lenders have really streamlined the process over the last few years. So it's not as big of a deal as it used to be.
Right. And it does depend on the lender that the seller has their loan with. The bigger the lender, it tends to be the longer the time table it is. The smaller the lender, if it's a local lender, sometimes it is actually just as quick, if not quicker, to get the approval than a typical transaction.
Yeah. Each circumstance is unique. There's a lot of factors involved, but there are people out there to help you. So if you're in a circumstance where you are not making ends meet and you really need to sell your house, but you owe more than it's worth, then a short sale is probably the answer for you.
Right. And those real estate agents and attorneys that specialize in short sales or are comfortable doing them, they tend to actually market themselves with that language in their materials. So that's what I would look for. There's no specific place where you can go and find agents that specialize in this, but most agents, if you look through, your local newspapers or your go to your local, to any real estate agents, you can ask them directly, hey, who in your company specializes in short sales? And typically, it is only a handful of agents in every company, because it is a little bit more of a headache on the agent side. But they are out there and they are very good to work with.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for today's show.
That's it. Thanks for having us again.
We hope you learned something, and we look forward to seeing you again at the next True Show. If you want to reach out and get in touch with us, then you can find us on Twitter, and that's
at True Show, or you can email us at true@thebusinesschannel.com.
Have a great one.